The Guardians and Reds may be full of young players, but as you could tell Monday night, these are two teams that appreciate the historic importance of the Ohio Cup. Logan Allen went out there and joined the list of rookie starters performing well for Cleveland this year. And Tito Francona even made a big lineup change to show how badly he wants to take home the Ohio Cup this year.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm Jeff. Over there is Justin. Justin, can you actually describe what the Ohio Cup looks like to our listeners who are not familiar?
It's a big, beautiful trophy.
What is on the trophy?
It says Ohio Cup on the trophy.
What else
right
is
up there
on
with Stanley Cup? Okay, Stanley Cup,
it's
Ohio
actually,
Cup. They're about the same.
It's
thing.
Actually about the size of the Stanley Cup. That's the crazy
exactly.
thing about
That's how
this.
important it is. That's right. Don't you
Did
disrespect
you know
the Ohio
it's
Cup?
basically a giant. It's a washing basin on a wooden platform. Then 4 baseball bats for legs, and then another wooden platform. And in the middle, like a little box. It is the ugliest trophy I've ever seen. Can I request that if the Guardians win it, they just put some firecrackers in there and blow it? This thing looks like a coffee table went wrong.
No, because Logan Allen wants to be the most outstanding player in the Ohio Cup this year. After that start, I think he is the front runner for the most outstanding player for the Ohio Cup in 2023. What do you think? Or is it Miles Straw?
That's the thing. To me, I did on the Locked On Now, I did my old 3 stars of the game in this one. And you had a top 2. And then after that, it's, you can debate Quan versus Jose, as each had 2 hits. I mean, Will Brennan didn't have a hit, but stole a base and had that throw that might have saved a run. So there's a lot of really interesting top-end performers in this.
Everybody wants to be the most outstanding player in the Ohio Cup. That's what I'm telling you.
I don't think
everybody brought their A game tonight.
I think if I made a whole room of trophies, a la Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, and told them choose wisely and pick out which trophy is the Ohio Cup, then not a single player on this team, even those who have won it and seen it, would be able to find it. Let me put it that way.
So you're telling me
that old Crusader.
You're telling me that Tito batting Jose second after all these years, we've been begging him to put Jose
it's
second.
It's fantastic.
Right.
Finally,
I'm telling you, he did it because he's trying to win the Ohio Cup. He said, we're going to make this move now.
Because it's the only hardware they can bring home. Is that what you're saying?
The Ohio Cup
everyone, Justin said, it's the only hardware they can bring home is the Ohio Cup.
It has a rich history, okay? I mean, let's talk about Tanner Bybee's Rookie of the Year award, which is a team award and not a player award, not a team award, which people are still kind of confused on that, by the way. I'm still getting messages saying, how does it actually work? And I was trying to figure out, too, with him, does he still get the extra service time if he wins, even though he wasn't up on opening day?
Yes.
I think that's still how that works. I think no matter what, he gets the 100%. Service time. Yeah. So
yes.
Ben answers that. But
no matter what. Because that debate came up last year, so I can answer yes. I do want to say we should start off with Logan Allen in this one before we go too crazy. Again, one note on Straw is this is what we've wanted all year. He is the one guy who works counts. He walked, he got on base, and then he caused havoc. He stole bases. This is the Straw that we... maybe hitting that home run. I mean, he's not been good since, so probably not. But maybe it took some stress off him. I don't know. But Logan Allen,
locking the real.
We talked about him. He's the with Logan Allen, he has been kind of the and also right. Gavin Williams has that spectacular stuff. He's had spectacular startings. Tanner Bybee is a Rookie of the Year contender, and there's also Logan Allen. And if you go look at his Savant page, it is terrible. His data is bad. So I want to take and point out to everyone, so much so as I was watching this game, I thought about if you have an Athletic subscription, there are still good things on there, not as good as it used to be, unfortunately, but Saris is one of the best things on there, and he wrote a piece about players who overperform and underperform. And the interesting thing is, according to Stuff Plus, the best Stuff Plus pitcher in baseball we saw pitch today, that was Graham Ashcraft, and he is
who doesn't strike batters out.
No, and yeah, he's underperforming. And the interesting thing, basically, and I tweeted at Saros, and I was like, hey, he doesn't mention Logan Allen in the article, but I was like, I'm watching this game. Doesn't Logan Allen fit exactly the type of pitchers who can overachieve lack of stuff? And he goes, yep, 2 fastballs, multiple pitches, good command, has change. And that changeup is really one of those things from that article, command and a changeup. Now, his changeup, we can go to a Fangraphs Michael Bauman article from
Also
late
very
July. It's very good if you haven't read it. I hadn't read it till today. It was late July. It's the number one thing if you look at Logan Allen. We're talking about his change has like the least break, slowest pitch, and the some of the worst spin, but it breaks the wrong way at points. Like not all the time, but he said something like of ones that break glove side, there's 101 changeups that have broke glove side this year. 79 are from Logan Allen. No other pitcher has 4. Like he has a changeup that is just unreal in that way, and it's the one that has, I believe, the highest whiff percentage of any of his pitches. So
it is Savant keeps picking up slider and sweeper. I don't know if he has 2 different sliders because the sweeper he throws is a little bit slower, and this one says he has a slider that's a little bit faster. So either way, it's pretty much his best put away pitch.
Yeah. And when you look at those 2 pitches, like they're not necessarily ones that are going to be stat darlings or stuff plus darlings, but and the command has been good. I think he can get even better, honestly. And he is such a good athlete that I'm not thinking about him adding more, but I just think his athleticism will allow all of this to play up. But
his command just hasn't been that good this year, to tell you the truth. Like his command is biz, and then that's what he ran into in AAA last year when he got there. I think he was nibbling a little too much. I think he was worried about his stuff playing and the velocity, and he still only averages 92 at the fastball. I don't know if he'll be adding a lot more at the fastball. And you see it this year where guys foul off the fastball a lot. He has to be perfect with his fastball location because of the velocity. And it's not a good fastball. Like the Guardians have had plenty of these guys over the years, right? Like Zach Plesac, terrible fastball. Shane Bieber.
The first Logan Allen.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about guys who have been successful, though.
Oh.
They've had guys who've had bad fastballs who have been successful, right? And I mean, Savali for a while didn't have a very good fastball because he was throwing a lot of cutters and a lot of like sinkers. Didn't really have a good four seam. And then Logan has the cutter too, and it's not a very well used pitch by him, but it's something he keeps to right-handers. But they're crushing it this year, so he's essentially a 3-pitch pitcher. He's got the fastball, the sleeper, and the change. The cutter doesn't do a whole lot for him if you look at it, but the changeup acts so much like a slider because of, like you said, the break. And that was the report on him in the minors too, is that they're thrown at different velocities. I mean, so his changeup comes in at about 82 and his slider is about 78 to 80. So they're roughly, at times they can be very similar speeds. They can mirror each other. But because his sweeper, his slider kind of has the same movement as the changeup until it kind of rotates backwards the last second. It's not really a screwball, but the way Michael Bauman described it is where he throws a cross body, right? Because he has that delivery, the cross body delivery, which not a lot of guys succeed doing. It just creates unique characteristics on that changeup. The changeup spin doesn't really happen with him until the ball is coming towards the plate. The rest of it breaks like it's a sweeper or a slider. I think that helps him because hitters can't differentiate whether they're getting a slider or they're getting a changeup with him. And you've noticed tonight too, what was it? I think he had 7 strikeouts. I think 5 of them came on the changeup, and he had 6 whiffs on the changeup tonight out of 8 swings. I mean, everything was working for him tonight. The fastball didn't really do a whole lot of they didn't do a whole lot of damage off of it, but it wasn't a great pitch from the night. But he had 15 swings and misses, and only one of them were the fastball. So everything else was working very good for him. And once he starts walking less batters, which I think he will because he had better command in the minors, or maybe he won't because he's trying to be too fine with that fastball, so that could get him in trouble. But if he starts walking less batters, like the way Gavin Williams has, he ends up in the same conversation as them, even though he doesn't have, off the chart stuff.
Yeah, I think we've seen a roadmap for him to be successful, even without it, more so than with some of those other guys. But I just take it as another positive sign. These rookie pitchers seem to get better every month, and it's just been fun to watch in a year that has had many things that isn't fun.
We said
play and performance of these 3.
We said last start, like we were worried about, is his stuff backing up a little bit? Is he starting to get tired? Because he had a bunch of walks, the velocity was down, his last start. Then he comes back with this. So being able to rebound this late in the season and not, be better and not slow down in that ballpark and against the lineup that's been very good in that ballpark too. So that says a lot.
But and then but the thing that I think stands out too on top of all that is, hey, remember the best of the group hasn't pitched this year. Like the one who has the 2+ pitch. If we could ever get Espino healthy and back, boy, is it going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what he'll look like when he does come back. We'll see. When we come back, we're going to talk about the lineup change, Cal Quantrill's rehab start. Maybe we should talk a little bit more Miles Straw too, and we'll see where that takes us. So stick around.
I love when we get a new sponsor, and we have a new one today, and that is our good friends over at Bunches. Okay, Locked On Guardians fans, I have to tell you about a new app called Bunches. Bunches is a new app built just for sports fans where you can chat sports in real time. Click the link in the show notes / description to join the app, or go to the Apple App Store and download Bunches, Bunches now. I'm telling you, you're going to love the conversations with other Locked On sports fans. Check out Bunches in the Apple App Store today.
Game 2 of the Ohio Cup is on Wednesday at 6:40. You can listen to all the action on the radio on your Sirius XM app. Just search Guardians on the app. I feel like we've been saying this I can't remember how many years we've been saying this, at least 3 or 4 years now, about Jose Ramirez hitting second. And finally it happened. I need to look back and see in his career if has he batted second before? I feel like he has.
Probably at some point. I bet
like,
there's some point when Lindor was here and they had some of the other players they like, he might have been there. When there was a little more strength in this lineup than they currently have.
Yeah, I gotta look. I'm gonna look at that real quick. I haven't seen. He hasn't batted anywhere else this past year. Obviously, I'm gonna look at his career real quick and see. But how big of a deal is this? Because I have to laugh. I was watching the game as it was the pregame as it was starting to come on, and Matt Underwood goes, "Well, there's been a significant lineup change for the Guardians, and this should not be taken lightly." And I'm thinking, "Oh no, who got pulled at the last second? Someone got hurt. That doesn't sound good." And then he says Jose Ramirez, and I'm like, "No, what happened to Jose?" And it was just about him moving up to second. So well played, Matt Underwood. You made me almost spit my dinner out as I was watching that, but. Jose does have experience. Actually, Jose's hitting every spot in the lineup throughout his career. Obviously, the best spot he's been in his third, because that's where he's done most of his damage throughout his career. But this is a spot where I think it makes sense. I'm sure there was times here with Lindor where we talked about it. And on the surface, it doesn't look like one of those things that's like a big deal. Like, okay, great. He gets one more spot in the order higher, and he gets a few more at bat, maybe one more at bat per game. That can matter throughout the course of the season, right? Instead of batting him third. And it was more about screaming doing this when Amed Rosario was here, because how many times did we see Amed Rosario come up behind anybody in front of Jose Ramirez and hit and double play in the inning, right? If you had Jose in that spot, you have Amed maybe behind him or something. And this is not meant to bag on Amed, because I'm sure everybody's kind of sick of the conversation there. But that was one of the big things, was like getting him out in front of guys who ground and double plays a ton. And maybe this is more on necessity. I know Tito talked about wanting to split up the left-handers in this lineup, but long-term, this can be a really good thing because he can be pitched differently now. You've got a guy like Steven Kwan getting on base. So you're not risking a double play. And not that Jimenez is a bad hitter. He hasn't had a great season, but Jose Ramirez is your best hitter, right? You want to get him more at-bats. And statistically speaking, your best hitter should hit second in the lineup. That's what kind of the model says. Like, you want your best hitters hitting second and fourth, because those are the times you're coming up with guys on base the most. And we've been screaming about it too, about Miles Straw today, about what he did. When you flip the lineup over like that, you have a guy up with two on, like Jose Ramirez, and didn't do a whole lot of damage tonight. But over the course of the year, this stuff kind of matters. And he doesn't have someone hitting behind him right now that can really protect him. And the line of protection can be so overblown, but the way the Guardians roster is right now.
Yeah, we also
does
see him
matter.
get intentionally walked at a high amount. I don't know if he's, the highest, but we've seen enough that there has to be some degree of protection. And here, just on a very basic level, I go back to early 90s listening to WKNR when I fall asleep. But I think it was like Bill Needle back in the day who wanted to bet Carlos Baerga too. Just to give some credit to someone who like wanted, it's like, hey, and his logic was just more at bats for your best hitter. Or maybe it was he wanted Albert Bell too. I can't remember exactly. But that's where I first kind of heard this. And that's what it comes down to. Like the second spot is the spot where it's not the most at bats that obviously be hitting first, but it's the most at bats, the balance of at bats with someone on base. And
less outs in theory.
And less outs. Yeah. So that's why that is such a valuable spot. And personally, Quan has had his ups and downs, but he's at least been average throughout most of this year. You can rely on Quan. Jose is an all-star. Josh Naylor was hitting like a borderline MVP candidate before he went down. Like you got those guys 1, 2, 3. Again, I'm okay with Straw at 9. I would still rather see the young kids play. Who knows what's going on with Andres? Like there's ways to balance and figure this out, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, hopefully he had 2 hits, and one of them, you could argue that neither hit was really, I'm not saying not deserved, because the one was hit over 100 miles an hour, but the left fielder kind of lost the one in the sun. That was Spencer Steer, our guy that we like, who isn't a good fielder anywhere, although I guess anybody could have lost that ball. And the other one was a grounder up the middle that just got through. A shift would have got him in the past there. So hopefully he performs well there, and you can keep him there. I mean, it is important to break up Quan and Jimenez and not have back-to-back lefties. Although with them, how much does that really matter? Because Quan is hitting lefties better this year, and Jimenez has hit better against lefties throughout his career. So I don't know how much that really matters either. But when you have a guy like Cole Calhoun hitting fourth,
yeah, and like that's the one thing he does well.
Yeah, both of them. Well, Quan last year hit right-hander as well, and he's having a weird split season this year for whatever reason. But
yeah, when
you're at the point in the season where Cole Calhoun is your cleanup hitter, and nothing against him, he had a 2-run single night, really mattered, obviously.
It's still not ideal.
The fact that he's hitting cleanup at all is, I don't know if that says more about just a poor lineup placement or everybody else in this lineup that hasn't performed. Like, Will Brand went 0 for 4 tonight. I know he had the great defensive play in right field, but that guy is chasing everything. He has Oscar Gonzalez syndrome. But he's instead of occasionally connecting with a screamer, he is grounding to second base an awful lot, like Gonzalez would to third base. But yeah, I don't know if it says more about the state of the lineup or the choice itself that Cole Calhoun's hitting forward. So for right now, I guess it matters getting Jose more at bats. I think long term it would be nice too to have him higher in the order and just, maybe he runs a little bit more. He hasn't run as much this year either. What is he at? 18 steals right now, I think. And I don't know if that's a product of. I don't know if that's a product of just who he's been on behind or who's been on. Jose is very good about letting guys in front of him run. I feel like the guys behind him do not let him run as much. Especially Andres Jimenez hitting behind him does concern me because he is a more aggressive hitter as well and likes to swing and not necessarily there to give
18
guys.
For Jose, 20 for Andres, and 16 for Quan are your top 3.
16 for Quan, yeah. I almost would argue that Jose should hit leadoff, to be honest. I know you don't have as many RBI opportunities hitting leadoff, but they're not going to walk the first batter of the game, and you give him free reign to run if you hit him leadoff too, especially if Quan's hitting second.
Well, Quan also can, he'll swing at things too. It's it's not as bad as Andres, but it just reminds me of remember Carlos Santana hit leadoff for a bit for this team when Terry was here. That was there was a school of thought that actually the leadoff hitter should have some pop, and that he was actually ahead of.
Just get on base. Yandy Diaz's leadoff hitter works because he just get on base, just create opportunities. And
highest on base percentage on this team is Cole Calhoun, so he should hit leadoff.
Yes, that's how this works. You're right. Okay, you have an argument against me.
Jose, Naylor, and then you got Freeman, who just can't stay healthy. I think his shoulder needs to be turned into a cyborg. If anyone has that technology, please let the Guardians know. It's the same shoulder for like 3-4 injuries now, right?
Yeah, somebody get a droid in there to replace the shoulder.
Then you got Quan, and then actually Jose Tena, and then Andres. So it's pretty ugly in terms of on base. And then after Andres, you got Bell and Fry, and then you got guys under 300 at that point. So it's.
I just think long term, it's a good fit for him. He's your best hitter. He does everything well. He can run. Getting him more opportunity, especially if you get to the ninth inning, if you can turn the lineup over to 9-1-2 or something, and you need a hit, that's the guy you want up right there. And lineup construction it can be overrated too. I mean, but when you have this lineup isn't good enough to bury or to put someone in the 2-hole like an Ahmed Rosario type or an Omar Vizquel type. Like this lineup isn't good enough to do that. If you want a specific skill set, I know. The old school thought is you want a guy to be able to hit the ball between first and second. That, I guess, in theory, was Ahmed Rosario's skill set. But this lineup isn't good enough to do that kind of stuff. Tyler Freeman maybe can do some stuff like that. But I'm sorry, if you give me the choice to get more at-bats for Jose Ramirez or Tyler Freeman, obviously picking Jose Ramirez. And I think statistically, too, your number 3 hitter comes up to bat with 2 outs most often. That is the most common outcome. That was the article I read on. What was the site on not SI? What was it? Sports Nation. What was the statistical blog they had out there on Sports Nation? It's dead now. It's been dead for years.
I know there's like Sports on Earth there for a while.
It was like out of the box or beyond the box score. It was beyond the box score. And they had a good column on there about data and lineup construction. And statistically, when they wrote that article, your number 3 hitter comes to bat most often with 2 outs. Like I want Jose Ramirez coming to at bat with the least amount of outs possible because either he's going to come up with somebody on or he's going to come up with 1 out. He could get himself on. And then you've got an opportunity from someone behind him versus him coming up with 2 outs and hitting a solo homer or hitting a double and getting stranded or hitting a double and having Cole Calhoun come up after him, of all people. Yeah, I'll have to find that article. It was a good one.
And so it's kind of amazing that they're even treading water without Naylor. Let's be honest. We should probably take that break, though, come back. We can talk a little bit more about the lineup, Jose, as well as Cal Quantrill's recent performance.
Absolutely. Well, the Guardians are certainly trying to make the best out of their lineup with the pieces they have. And for a championship team, it is all about making sure every player is the perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle, and every part needs to fit just right, whether it's your vehicle or the lineup. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. They would bat Jose Ramirez second long before this. Just add your ride to my garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, get the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Guardians and Reds, Game 2. Guardians win Game 2. They win the Ohio Cup. They retain it. You can listen to the action and Noah Syndergaard trying to cement his place in Ohio Cup history against Andrew Abbott on your Sirius XM app. Just search Guardians. Noah Syndergaard wants the Ohio Cup. I'm telling you.
Just to throw something out there involving that. The other side of it, the guys who are overachieving or who could have some area to fall, Andrew Abbott falls squarely in that list as someone that he mentions, just because the changeup isn't great. The command is not great. As much as I'd like to see this team take advantage of Andrew Abbott's command issues, feels like the opposite happens, that they'd end up swinging more, expanding the zone. Which is, again, they did so well last year, even though they didn't walk a lot. They were better about not expanding the zone. Tomorrow could be rough, as he is a hard-throwing lefty who doesn't always know where the ball is going.
Yeah, tomorrow, I haven't looked at Abbott splits, but I would think that you'd want to load up on right-handers. Ramon Laureano should be in there, which kind of funny they didn't pitch it for Will Brennan late in the game, but for a reason when they're up, they don't pinch it. I'm not really sure why that is.
Because you can't mess with it. It's magic. If you mess with it, you'll lose.
I guess. Andrew Abbott's strikeout rate, I'm looking at Graham Ashcraft, not Andrew Abbott. It is a little disappointing they did not walk more against Graham Ashcraft. 8.8% walk rate. I mean, Miles Straw had the only 2 walks of the night, and that's a continuing theme with this offense, right? Is they just don't they don't take enough pitches. Yeah, there was another good article today on FanGraphs that was talking about.
Yeah, he murders lefties against righties. So his FIP against lefties is 167. His FIP against righties 440. So a bit of a difference.
So Tyler Freeman at third, Jose can DH, Gabby Arias at first. Although, never mind, Gabby Arias.
Gabby Arias will go 0 for 4 with 8 Ks. I don't know how you strike out 8 times at 4 at bats, but he'll do it.
Gabby Arias or Cole Calhoun at first base against a lefty.
I guess Cole Calhoun, like Gabby Arias right now. Like if you want to win, I love Gabby. Man, there's so many haters in the comments. Even someone left a positive review for us. Size 424, I think it is, who keeps leaving reviews. Thank you for leaving multiple reviews, but just bashing Gabby. But I mean, he is against lefties. You and I would be about as effective right now. And I say that is saying that like I couldn't make my high school baseball team. So
keep throwing him out there. I mean, at this point in the season, keep throwing him out there.
If you don't care about winning,
sink it's a sink or swim time for him. I know. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't think Gabby Arias against lefties or Cole Calhoun is making a whole bunch of difference in your season at this
Cleveland
point.
Is currently 11th in the draft. Remember that would be, and it is an 11th because Washington can pick 10th. So it is.
They can pick 10th. Yeah,
outside of that range.
Yeah.
So Cleveland is.
I don't think the balance of the season is coming down to Cole Calhoun or Gabby Arias playing first base against lefty.
It is.
I'd rather just see Gabby Arias at first, and let's see what happens because Rocchio should play, being a switch hitter. DH Jose for a day, even though he just had 3 days off in a row. Get Rocchio, get Freeman in there. I'm sure. Oh no, it's a night game, so Cam Gallagher shouldn't have to make an appearance out there. You have Oscar, Straw, Quan, yeah. God, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be. Laureano should be out there tomorrow. We'll see. It's just unbelievable at this point. I really get a lot of 2015 vibes here with JB Shuck and who else was here in 2015 that was randomly in the outfield at the end of the year? No, that wasn't Thomas Neal. That was 2012.
We had so many random outfielders just in general, but it's
I think Mike Aviles was still there at that point. Just what a mess. Cal Quantrill. I don't know how he fits back in the rotation because right now, obviously that's Logan Allen's day at the moment. I mean, who knows what kind of schedule to keep him on? He threw, let's see, 40. He threw 70 pitches, so he's probably one more rehab start away from probably being ready for the majors if he's at 70 pitches. 3 2/3 innings, 4 hits, a home run to Jace Young, Josh Young's younger brother. That was a weird. 4 strikeouts in AA. Not bad. Certainly better than his first rehab start against AAA hitters, but AA versus AAA hitters. We'll see. I don't really know where he fits back in. I mean, the only thing I could think of is, do you push Curry back to the bullpen at this point? I think that's the only option. And I hate to take the opportunity away from Curry, but he is probably better in that role than he is a starter if he wants to stay in the major leagues. Or maybe you can tandem it. Maybe you can have Curry follow one of the young guys. If you want to try to cap, some rookie's innings, whether it's Allen or whoever, maybe you can have Curry follow one of the rookies and give Quantrill a spot back or something. I don't know. It's going to be a weird fit because I have a feeling Syndergaard's just going to keep pitching every 5th day at this point. They're not going to do anything different with him.
No, nor would I expect them to, honestly. Like he's supposed to be the steady vet right now, right? So he'll be the steady vet for this team going forward.
I mean, I feel better about him than I do Cole Calhoun. Like at this point, you just need innings. Like I'm okay with Syndergaard pitching more than I am watching Cole Calhoun play. Nothing against him. He seems like a nice guy. And I'm sure people like him as a teammate, but the whole thing's just weird.
No, like I said, for me, it's just the age thing. Like there's literally no chance he is with this team in a year. So you're giving at bats to someone who just because they're there. But I think we've talked enough of Calhoun. We've talked enough about the game. It was a nice win. Hopefully they will win the Ohio Cup tomorrow and we can all, dance around with our faux Ohio Cup statuettes.
I'll be down at East 9th if they win it. I'll be there. I want to see the trophy come through East 9th and Euclid Avenue.
I won't, but I want to thank you all for jumping in to all of our everydayers out there. Just saw Daniel Keating commenting on the Locked On Now about the win. Thank you to each and every one of you for doing your part. Remember to download daily and comment, like, subscribe, tell a friend, and go Guardians, go win the Ohio Cup. Choose wisely.